qualifier for the Quake World Championship, and we have what I believe is our final series of the night. We are long into our bracket at this stage, and we have one more series to determine who's going to make it into our Sunday playoffs, and it's between garpy and Hal. So it's going to be a good series as always.
Now, I do believe, unless I'm wrong, we have definitely seen both of these players at some point across the streams. Garpy, I believe it was Sacrifice. We saw him as part of Team Envico.
It was Envico, yes.
Envico, of course. Yeah, forgive me.
It was among Hell, Vu, and Hypno as well.
Now, Hal. We've definitely seen him before as well. I can't remember if that was Sacrifice or that was Duel.
I'm fairly certain it was against Agent.
I think
the series we had one match from. Agent ultimately won that. Speaking of Agent, we have another Clutch get picked. Clutch has really come into fruition, I think.
Yes, it was. It was Agent versus Hal. That's where we saw him last week.
So, again, looking at these team comps, Anarchy, Nyx, and Clutch, all three of those will navigate really well. And finally, we do see the Blaskovich pick again. So there's going to be some elements of shred there. We normally see that to really sort of shred down the weaker champions, or in many ways deal with the high health pool of larger champions. But Clutch, with that shield, is not one of those champions that you can shred so easily, because he's always going to have a shield wall when you've got dual wield, because his cooldown is 20 seconds shorter than yours.
The only chance you're going to have to catch Clutch without his barrier up when you're playing as Blaskovich is if he just makes a mistake and he just uses it at a really bad time.
Or if you force it out of him before you have a chance to use dual. So if you catch him with a couple of rails from distance and you force him to use his shield wall to not die from range,
but even then
you go in later.
If you use it against him at a distance and force it out of him, it still has quite a generous cooldown on it. And if you unless you're just going to force a fight twice within 30 seconds and you can stop him picking up those hourglasses or just waiting out that timer and avoiding you, then it's going to be quite dangerous. Whereas, Blaskovich has that sheer longer cooldown on his ability, which means that once they clash, Clutch is usually going to come out on top. But now you've got Clutch with an Anarchy and a Nyx before him. So you've gone for those kind of like those staple two picks, and you've just thrown a Clutch on that team. This is a scary thought.
Oh no!
Well, how about that? 7 seconds in.
That's a very fast way to start off. Catching him with the LG, getting some amazing spawns, but the damage reduction of the charge. Look how much health he's got left. They trade 1 for 1. I mean, in less than 20 seconds, one champion of each side has gone down.
I hope there's a bit of a taste of things to come for this series. We've seen so much passiveness today and caution, and obviously I understand that. It makes sense, these guys are playing for so much, but it's nice to see just a good old-fashioned slobber knocker every now and then.
Now Hal really looking to sort of control this high ground once again. Hits a rail, but garpy still having a lot more health. Yeah, using that bull rush just to try and get to safety.
Oh, I thought it was going to go clean over the heavy armor at that point. But now we can see garpy's gone back up to this Clutch. Ooh, ever slightly misses that. So shot was quite a difficult one to hit, it seems.
So garpy's gone in for Clutch, not first this time.
I mean, again, you've got Clutch and Anarchy together. Anarchy still needs that sort of injection to just pop his health up, get it beyond that capacity. Clutch, you can kind of put him second to that, I think, is the exception.
It's always quite an interesting matchup when you see two large champions go toe-to-toe, because the occasional rail is not the be-all end-all of whether a fight should or shouldn't happen.
And this is a weird one, though, isn't it? Because Clutch can sponge all the gunshots in the world, all the damage, all the LG, all the rocket, whatever it is, but ultimately, Scalebearer's charge cannot be blocked by that barrier. If he hits him with that bull rush, he will go clean through it.
It's another one of getting a full speed charge. Oh, ends just in front, but gets 100 damage rocket anyway.
But getting hit by that direct, he still has armor to go. Garpy so tanky.
Speaking of which, gets the mega health as well. Garpy just flying around, really trying not to get tagged too much.
Oh, he gets caught. He does pick up the heavy armor. Is he going to get through though?
No, here he comes.
Up relatively soon, but at the same time, we're going to see the charge too.
Thing is that bull rush going straight through the shield. Are we seeing it? Hasn't got it available!
What happened? Oh my lord, 7 health survived by one single shot. That LG would have done it.
The difference between who lived and died in that fight was 1 tick of a lightning gun. That is as close as it gets.
Oh, he's got the barrier and a rocket, and it's Blaskovich. I don't know if he can get away from this.
Oh no,
if he shoots.
Yep, if he misses the rail, he'll get away from it.
That was an unfortunate misplay though. The barrier stays up as long as you aren't firing, but as soon as you shoot, it will drop down for a little while. I think if garpy was a little bit more patient there and just waited out that dual wield, he may have survived.
Well, garpy
unfortunately went for the rail.
He might not have had the shield time available. Maybe have thought if I can land this rail, it doesn't matter how long the shield's up for, I've won the round, but unfortunately missed the rail, so we'll never know.
Maybe, but it does bring it down to the final champion, though. Nyx versus Blazkowicz. See how much of a matchup this can tend to be, though. Just how fast she can get deleted if she gets caught off guard by a dual wield. 5 seconds away, he's going to become a lot more scary.
Absolutely. I reckon garpy's going to have access to that ghost walk, though, so he's going to have to wait. Definitely an element of waiting out here is you wait for Blazkowicz to pop that dual wield, and then when you see it, you pop the ghost mode to basically undo what he's done, make him waste it.
A minute and a half left, though, ticking on this clock. Might go down to sudden death at this rate unless they find themselves a fight quickly. Not that sudden death's going to make too much of a difference anyway when they both have one champion left, but still.
Hits one rail. Garpy's weak. Going in for the dual wield.
Oh! Wait, what? What?
The frag. I believe the frag went to Hal.
Oh, that is gotta be a nasty, bitter pill to swallow.
Well, he landed the LG and that was what got the frag. But then the rocket that connected afterwards was just a mute point. It just didn't exist because the round to that stage was already over. A little bit fast to call, but as close as it gets.
I'm sure Hal will take that one, though. We find ourselves back once again to Ranger versus Anarchy.
Oh, caught him in the middle of his circle. Jumps but pushed him all the way back to where he started, taking all that damage as well.
Tops himself back up again, though. Let's not forget, plenty of pickups around for these fast characters. Oh,
really aggressive start. Forced to use his, unfortunately forced to use his injection and just still stuck in the air. How? Much better start this time around. Garpy on clutch already.
Good read, he was going towards the rail, though. Let's not forget that Dirob does go clean through the barrier if he can get it.
Oh! Tries to trade the rail for the rail. At this stage, he's going to know that the shield wall is down, though. Can't take another rail. Garpy's going to be looking for it.
Mega health up in just a few seconds.
Yeah, at this stage, Garpy's already got out of there.
I remember. He's got the heavy armor, too. Look how tanky he just became.
I remember Ranger will do damage through the shield. Dirob negates it. Manages to hit it, but gets minimal damage. Only 33 versus clutch. That's just not enough.
Oh, there's the rail, though. Barrier is up. If he gets caught out, that can be low.
Definitely using the shield wall to survive there rather than to fight, I think. Hit him with the rail, but it might not be enough for 6 health. He is so weak!
Oh my word, Hal! How did he do that? 6 health left again. By the skin of his teeth, he just continues to survive.
He was just a confident man that he was going to get that rail, he was going to get the frag. It didn't matter how weak he was, and it paid out.
Well, this could be another one. No, he does get taken down. Garpy gets that rocket, but the Ghost Walk is down. That's a 40-second cooldown. If Hal can catch him early before he can get that back, that could be dangerous.
Even with the inevitable mega health, it's still 10 seconds away. If Hal gets a good bull rush, she will just be deleted. I think against Nyx, though, it's so easy for her to navigate. It's unlikely we're going to see a bull rush. I don't really see Garpy putting himself in that situation, knowing that this is the matchup he's currently facing.
Oh, it's a glancing hit. At the end of the day, that is Scale Bearer. Single rail when he's stacked up isn't going to make too much of a difference.
Fight near the heavy armor again, but it's done a good job of just basically deterring him, keeping him away. Using the aggressive Ghost Walk, trying to sort of safer advance and get that mega health.
And right now, Garpy is just really resting for control over his power-ups, but at the end of the day, 2 minutes left, and Hal does have that champion lead, 2-1. So if we still sort of play this runaway game, Hal is going to be the winner of the round.
It's definitely going to be hard for him to run away, though.
Again, not that's what he's going for. Obviously, you just have to be very careful when you approach these heavy-hitting characters. Well, but that one rail could be enough.
I mean, he's caught the bull rush, and he tags him in the backside, and now it's 1-1. That was a really nice play there. He caught the couple of rails, he knew he had the health to go in, aggressively chased it, because he was stuck in Bull Rush. I mean, that was all he could do. Take the limited damage if he could, but caught him on this.
Hanging around for the aggression. Oh, and Hal turned around just in case he did that. Made garpy think twice about sticking around. Let's not forget, though, the winner of this series is going to move on to Sunday's playoffs, so this is their final match today. That's why guys have had to win a ton of games just to get to this point. They don't want to be wasting that now.
I think that's why you see like a real level of just cautiousness, because both players, there is so much on the line. A lot rides on this match. But really important thing to note is that when we saw the Ghost Walk used just there by garpy, Hal didn't use his dual wield. He still got it, which means the next time a fight happens, they're both going to have their abilities ready.
Oh, I thought that rocket was going to do it. Missed that follow-up rail. garpy could have ended the round right then, right there.
I really think Hal is just waiting for the Ghost Walk that never came. garpy now gets around on the board, but I think Hal was actually waiting for the invisibility, and when it would finish up, he would then use the dual wield. We do see that as well, where it's almost like a bait on a bait, where the Nyx will wait for the dual wield, but sometimes, if it's such a bad situation, the Nyx is forced to use it regardless, and at that stage, then we see the Blazkowicz players go for dual wield, and it's guaranteed on the outside, but again, history repeats itself. That happened in round 1.
Yeah, it looks like we've accidentally played a replay of round 1 instead. Can we go back to the actual game, please?
Oh, taking 40 damage, but getting that heavy armor. Not really punished too heavily. Hal still super healthy.
Oh my word. I mean, what a lead already, though. garpy. I mean, that's exactly what you want to start things off.
Eliminate the Ranger immediately.
Puts out the Scale Bearer that he's been outrunning very, I don't want to say easily, but he's definitely been getting the distance on the Scale Bearer quite consistently.
Hal really sitting pretty near that rail, just for the time being, to waste a bit of time.
Nailed by the rail. Far away, though. Hal's going to quite... I mean, it was a good attempt, but ultimately, it's going to take a little bit more than one shot. Hal has plenty of health, though. Picked up that mega health. If anything, it's just constantly keeping garpy looking to top himself up. Because if you can catch Anarchy without full health and full shield, you will just annihilate him.
Well, if both players have the rail, that's really the game plan is. If you hit one of the larger champions with the rail, they don't really care. But if you hit Anarchy with the rail, I mean, look at how weak he is now. Even after the injection, he was almost killable right there. He had no armor behind him, so the rail would have fragged him at any strength. Minimum 80 damage versus a 77 HP Anarchy. That's not good maths if you're playing as Anarchy right there.
A cross-map direct rocket will do the trick.
Now at this stage, garpy, if he can avoid getting hit, this is going to be a much better situation. $10. I mean, that's a long time to wait. 7 seconds on this heavy armor. But Hal not really looking to fight it. I think he's trying to get their mega health instead. And once again, they're going to trade it off.
And again, heavy armor. I mean, you can imagine just how important it is to have just heavy armor on the side of Anarchy. Something like Hal. I mean, look, he's always got the rocket or the rail out. It's one of the two.
Caught him just above. Undid some of the mega health right there, but still a little bit of work to do. Oh! You have to be super careful trying to dodge to his best ability. Just get out of there. Go back towards heavy armor. Tried to head him off. Got hit by one rail. Hal now actually quite weak.
You can already see Hal trying to run away, but we know he doesn't have his bull rush. If he wants to chase him, he can do that. Nice!
Oh, wow,
rail. Nice!
He's going to know as well that Hal is quite weak. To this sort of general game plan of just waiting for those larger items. I think garpy does not want to overextend here. He's got the advantage. You very rarely see people almost like risk giving it up. Nice little prediction.
Yeah, he knows he's going to go through that way for Hal.
Oh!
Once again, this is one of those longer rounds, but at the same time, garpy wants to play this game. garpy can. He's got the lead.
That rail has just made him go so fast. Going in for the bull rush. He does manage to catch him, but no! He just has too much health, and that is exactly why garpy did not want to dive face first into a Scale Bearer with that much
I think it was
stack.
more that Hal he wasted no time. He found him there. He immediately jumped down the stairs to not give him that escape option, and he just forced him to commit to the fight.
That was an amazing play. Fantastic play. garpy, though, with plenty of health and armor on his own side. forcing the bull rush to escape, and now that's going to be down for 30 chunky seconds.
Oh, garpy makes the read away. He's going to go. Is that going to be enough for health? And the single machine gun bullet is enough to take him down. 1 minute and 5 seconds left on the clock. And a Clutch versus Blazkowicz.
I mean, we've said this,
somehow get rid of this.
Said this plenty of times, but this is a favorable matchup for Clutch. The shield will just negate his ability so much, and because there's 20 less seconds of cooldown, Clutch is never going to not have that.
Plus, we're at a point that Blazkowicz has that long cooldown with less than a minute to go on the clock. Oh my god, it isn't even going to matter. garpy with that quick just flick to the rail.
Didn't even need the shield wall.
That's the classic. The classic. Get him in the air, get the rail out, and deliver that final shot.
Now, garpy on the verge of needing only one more round. This is going to be a great start for him.
Fight.
I mean, just putting yourself a map up is always a comfortable sight, but doing it when you're this close to qualifying, even more so. Just taking as much of that pressure off your shoulders as possible.
Taking an early rail, actually getting a good prediction on the fact that Hal was going to teleport, but no payout. He did predict the Dire Orb teleport, but didn't get the rail. Really waiting for him, but opting to just not waste any more time. Get that rocket launcher.
Oh, rocket's over. But there's a Ranger, so that damage is going to be non-existent to himself. Mega health up, garpy going to secure it. Mega armor going the way of Hal, though. And I think that we see all the time.
Opted not to teleport to it. I think he really knew he was going to listen out for it. Again, we're seeing a lot of rails fail to connect this time.
Already a minute into this one, and already we're seeing a lot more misses than we have beforehand.
Speaking of misses, actually, misses that jump from bridge. Rail to bridge.
And garpy's going to desperately need some armor. Again, you know, we talk about it all the time, but it never stops being true. Just the requirement to have armor at all times if you're playing as Anarchy. Just because how prominent rails are, you just need that armor to sponge that damage.
I feel like the round becomes a lot more explosive once that first champion goes down. Because when they both have their basic champions, as you can clearly see, there is a level of passiveness, you know, where both players, they do not want to put themselves in a situation where they give up a kill unnecessarily.
Can't really blame them though, considering
He just went
out.
straight past him. Almost went down. He could have easily got fragged there if he got hit by point blank.
Stopwatch.
Now here we go. garpy just became a little bit more dangerous with that heavy armor. Yeah, not even trying to push that one. Not interested. Oh, that really clutch ledge grab. Consistently seeing garpy almost sort of farm some of these jumps, though, not quite making them.
You can hear up top though, just how loud that's going to be when you're jumping around like that.
Unfortunately,
he's ready and waiting.
I think sometimes though, when you miss those jumps, you just give up that really important positioning. Like the fact that Hal is controlling bridge means that he's controlling the middle of the screen, he's controlling mega health, he's going to be able to control heavy, he's controlling basically all of the really important pickups. If he's got a rail in hand, he has eyes almost everywhere.
Oh, speaking of which though, sort of wanders into that one.
I actually think garpy has missed almost every single rail this round.
Oh! And again, over and over again, garpy finds himself walking into these rails, hook, line, and sinker. Hal's getting the hit, but just isn't. I mean, he's not quite in range to follow up, but at the very least, he knows he's just taking away that chunky damage every time he nails garpy with the rail.
He's putting garpy in a situation where he does not want to fight. That's the important thing. Just stalling that clock down. But however, as each minute ticks away, as each second goes down, we get closer to sudden death. Now, in a sudden death situation, all it takes is one fight to go well for you, and you're going to win that entire round. garpy now only has to win one round. So if he can play all the way to sudden death and then get that one good fight, he's going to be in a great spot.
Seen a lot of these rails missed though from garpy. He's not quite on point.
He's definitely missed.
This round as he was before.
He's definitely missed a lot of rails in this fight. I mean, make that one more. I feel like he's really going to kick himself, but obviously, I'm sure no one knows it more than he does. In these really clutch situations, these rails that you just miss by a hair's length, they really are the difference between winning and losing.
Mega health though, and immediately runs as far away as possible, so Hal can't really catch him out there. Oh, gassed that one.
Yeah, manages to land one. Now he's got the advantage of health and armor. Heavy armor spawns as well, and garpy does control this. Gets another rail. Hang on a minute, he smells blood.
misses that one. A bit more of a Hail Mary shot. I think he was just going to take the shot while he was moving on, just in case.
Well, they always say you miss every shot you don't take, and I think in some of these instances where there's no reason not to take a shot, just go for it.
Yeah, of course. Again, it always seems to stem down to Anarchy, though, this hit-and-run style. Anarchy just seems to be... This really is the way that people are starting to play this champion.
He's going in for the chase.
But again, this is what I'm talking about, though. Anarchy. Looks like all the Anarchy players are really starting to adopt this. Okay, immediately run away and make sure there's no space.
Speaking of which, they both collide, but again with similar health and armor, you really can't call a winner in that one with 15 seconds left. Are they going to wait it out for sudden death?
This is going to sudden death unless they just fight immediately and trade it out frag for frag. I don't see that happening with how this round has been going so far. Now, if garpy can get this next frag, now sudden death is seconds away from starting. He's going to take this first map and put himself in so much more of a better situation.
Now, this is a dangerous territory for Hal. He is very weak. It doesn't even want to go towards the heavy armor. He knows the risk he takes going for it, especially with garpy with a rail in hand waiting for him. Speaking of which, underneath him, and no doubt Hal's heard that. I don't think Hal's going to be interested in fighting this. Just give up.
I mean, just because Mega Health is up doesn't mean they both have to immediately go for it. If Hal knows he's unlikely to get it without taking a ton of damage in the meantime, then sometimes you just need to concede it.
garpy gets another rail. He now knows he's done 160 damage. That's going to be fantastic for Hal, seeing as he hasn't got heavy armor or Mega Health. He's headed him off.
Does the other die, Rob? He just picked up a hit. There we go. He's thrown it away.
He has.
Hal's able to survive.
But he has given up the heavy armor. No, doesn't quite make the jump.
Unfortunately, wastes some health in the meantime. Uh-oh. Gets the injection out of him.
Throughout this entire round, garpy is still yet to have enough health to tank a rail. Now, funnily enough, he is the one in trouble, and Hal is stacked. I don't think garpy...
He knows Hal is right on top of him.
Uh-oh.
Could have been, if that was a rail, that would have been the game.
Oh, catches the midair!
Read.
What a prediction rocket in the middle of the jump pad! But Hal still has all of this health to work with.
Heavy armor is up. You can see Hal, though, taking that teleporter exit. He's trying to catch one of those cheeky shots to pick up the heavy armor. Mega Health is up any second now.
Hal with a chunky amount of armor and health together. If he catches garpy right now, he's going to be fantastic.
Well, garpy did just get the Mega Health to help out, but did just eat himself a rail. A second one. Third one. And Hal just needs this to tie this up. This is still the first map.
Even though we're in sudden death, all garpy needs is one more. Is he going to get the chance to do it? No, he's getting chased. And it's going to go through. I'm not sure. No! I was not sure whether he was going to get it, but he chases it down. All he needed was one more injection, and he would have had 81 HP, and then he would have been able to tank those rails.
Indeed, but that was just round 4. We are going down to the final round of map 1. I mean, who wants to put in all this effort and then lose this game and have to do it all over again? Neither of these guys.
I mean, this is only map 1. You said it yourself. It's gone on for so long, but it's because I thought there is so much riding on this series. Another slow start. Hal being very patient, maybe catching a jump pad or catching him off guard in general. That's definitely a popular hiding spot. I feel like we're going to see history repeat itself right here.
I have a hunch you may be right. As both big pickups are about to spawn in just a few seconds' time, I assume it's going to be the standard. garpy will take one and Hal will take the other.
Well,
oh, that was a good read.
A strength of Ranger on Blood Covenant. 2 places at once. 2 important pickups at the same time. But again, garpy is going to stay as agile as possible. Definitely does not want to give up any more of this positioning or take too much unnecessary damage. We've seen a lot of a level of passiveness from both of these players that we haven't seen a huge amount all night. But now they've both got to win 1 round, so I feel like the passiveness might be accelerated. They have even more reason to watch out now. This is the rail ever so slightly. garpy just getting out of there, taking that Mega Health and jumping.
But again, very much what we saw before. This hit and run, slow style. Oh no, they're forcing the fight this time. Actually could go down. garpy's going to get that first frag, and the first time Hal decides to get really aggressive, he does suffer the consequences.
Just got caught mid-rocket jump. Marley was stuck in the air. garpy hit him with a fantastic mid-air. And with only 5 HP left, any amount of lightning gun fire would have done the job. Now garpy doesn't need to overextend too much.
Makes you wonder though, garpy's been playing this sort of runaway style the whole time. I mean, if he can run away for 3 minutes, he's going to win the map. You know, this is Anarchy. This is arguably the best champion in the game to play this kind of strategy.
Especially on Blood Covenant, when he can make some of these little jumps that Scalebearer can't make. I mean, he can make some of them, but he has to sacrifice his bull rush to do it. There is that trick that's being recently discovered where you go for bull rush and then you cancel it to maintain the speed and immediately jump. You actually keep the speed and can make specific jumps, but that is a 30-second cooldown jump that you're taking every time.
And then you've got Anarchy who just does it in his sleep.
Exactly. Just get one good circle jump and you can basically make any jump that you want on this map. Hal with a huge amount of health, but no armor so far. So any damage he takes off rails from distance, which we know Garpy's going to be looking for, is going to be just complete uncontested damage.
Garpy can see him. The question is, does he follow up?
Oh.
No, Hal went for the rail. Unfortunately, missed it. Once again, we find it all comes down to those clutch rail shots that are hard. I mean, to be fair, he is shooting at an Anarchy. It's not like he's got an easy target.
Absolutely not. Minimal damage on the rocket, and again, more rails that are failing to connect. Hal is still alive with a bunch of health because those rails did not hit him. But Garpy, he can really afford to be the passive player here.
Where he's going in for the kill. He knows he's done a lot of damage. That's not quite enough. That's just the health pool from Scalebearer, but it does not matter as Garpy gets the frag in the end and finds himself now 3 champions up on Hal's lone Blaskovitz.
Hal has 1 minute and a half to take down 2 as a minimum champions when you've got this agile Anarchy, and no doubt we will see Garpy go for clutch if he loses this Anarchy. I think this is a lot to ask, but I mean, you can't count this guy out. Can't count anyone out.
We've seen comebacks all day in this exact same situation, but I mean, 1 minute only to do it. That's where it gets a little bit difficult, but he makes the read on the jump pad, and he gets the frag. 1 minute now. Now all he needs is one more frag just to even things out. So now it's not as much of an impossible task.
No, actually, Garpy's gone for Nyx instead of clutch. I think he favors his survivability with the Ghost Walk rather than the shield wall.
You can hear her running around though, you can tell. Hal is looking for his opportunity. Let's not forget 45 seconds left and 30 seconds on the dual wield. Unless he can pick up some hourglasses, he's not actually going to have his ability back before the end of the round.
40 seconds to get a good piece of
10
positioning.
Seconds. He's going to have one more dual wield to make this work. One more. No more, no less.
But at the same time, Nyx is going to have that Ghost Walk. He actually caught sight of him. He knows he's there. At this stage, Garpy is just going to stall the clock. Hal misses the rocket jump. So yeah, he's going to waste time trying to get back up now.
I'm not sure if it's possible at this point. 15 seconds left. I mean, we've seen how fast you can shred, but Garpy has just been doing such a good job of just avoiding combat the whole time.
And 5 seconds left. Garpy has a Ghost Walk. There really is nothing Hal can do to stop this.
That's it.
That's going to be a map. Blood Covenant goes to Garpy.
Really well fought. Definitely drew that one out, but you know that in itself is a strategy that we're seeing players go for. You know, they want to make it last as long as possible. They play for that safety. If they get that early hit, their reward is the ability to play like that. You don't see players doing that constantly when they're even. It's when they have that lead on champions, they realize, okay, cool, I've got the clock now. What are you going to do about it? And when they run those Nyx, they run the Anarchy, and they've just got the speed. And you need a very specific kind of champion to chase them down and keep up with them. I mean, they do what they've got to do.
I think it just comes down to how useful champions are on maps like that. I think, you know, on one hand you go, is he just going to go with Clutch? Because Clutch has loads of native health. It was after the Anarchy was taken out, I guess the read there was, what champion is he going to have to deal with? Because obviously, if Blaskovitz catches the Clutch on spawn, and he's got shield wall, yes, but if he has no weapons to get going, that shield wall is only going to keep him alive. It's not going to allow him to kill you, per se, unless maybe he goes with like the starting shotgun and you've not got much health. But that's a very situational circumstance. If you catch a good spawn, he's got shield wall and no weapons, the second that runs out, your dual wield will just annihilate Clutch, and that would have been 2 straight either way. I think we saw the Nyx because he just must have preferred the idea of running away, and if he finally got caught in a bad situation, he had that insurance policy of the Ghost Walk. Fundamentally, he didn't actually need it at the end there. He did not even need to use it, but the option that it was there, you know, the fact that he had that option if he needed it was clearly very important, and one of our slowest maps of the day did go down to Garpy, who now is 1 map up.
Now, speaking of the maps, we're going to see Hal have the opportunity to swap now, if he wants to. Now, normally, to counter this kind of like runaway defensive playstyle, we see players go to Corrupted Keep. The problem is, Garpy has a Clutch in his team, who adores this map like no other. So if he does go for the Corrupted Keep, garpy, whilst he's going to lose that space, I mean, let's not even forget, just because he's won doesn't mean he's locked to those champions. garpy can swap if he wants to. But, you know, let's say how goes to Corrupted Keep to stop him from having the space to just run away all game like that. We can see that garpy is comfortable playing characters, champions I should say, like Clutch, who thrives on this map.
Well, I mean, we can sort of theory craft and predict potential maps that we might see, but on the flip side, I mean, we just saw Toxic versus Silence, and Toxic in that third map
He won because he picked Slash,
but he went
champions.
He went to the ruins of Sarnath and went with a very strange composition because of it, but it worked wonders. Now, you were saying we're on Corrupted Keep. This is the map that's been selected, so no doubt garpy's gone back for Clutch, pretty much an exact copy of the team he went with last time. Hao's gone in for Scalebearer once again. Blakovic first as well, maybe predicting either shredding Anarchy.
We saw Ranger last time, because he's really thinking about this one. Clutch. Now, this is interesting. A Clutch of his own. So now he has an amazing team. Basically dealing with his own champions. And on the side of garpy, we see Nyx, Anarchy, and Clutch. Now Hal has Scalebearer, Blaskovic, and a Clutch of his own now. Nope. So you're going to have Clutch to deal with, Nyx, and potentially his own Clutch, maybe? I mean, they pop barrier, you pop barrier.
Two Clutches are very strange because they will essentially just block each other's damage off. It's not really something that you rarely see, to be honest. You don't really see it all that often. When it comes to Clutches, it's just sometimes they'll try and almost just disengage it, or they'll just stay there and outweigh it, because at the end of the day, if you manage to get one good rocket, it's still going to be good for you because you've got the shield regardless. It's definitely a strange exchange. I do wonder if we'll see it, but I reckon do we reckon we'll see Blaskovic picked first, because that will potentially shred Anarchy really early. If he goes with Clutch and again catches a good spawn before Clutch can get going and has dual wield, we might see that put to use.
Not quite sure. I think it'll still be Anarchy first from garpy. Yep, it is going to be. Just obviously, you know, if you've got this champion, you may as well put them first just to start stacking up that health. But looks like he has actually gone for Blaskovic first.
Done a nice amount of damage already. garpy having to get out of there, Hal on the chase, but not looking to overextend too much just yet.
Teleport will go through. We've already seen how opting to go for that teleporter can be quite dangerous, as it puts you in a situation that you haven't got as many escape options as other places.
Once again, they're going to trade. Mega health for the heavy armor, as always. Both players, nice amount of weapons, but garpy's still without a LG. It's one thing to factor in right now. He only has the rocket launcher, and he gets caught by the dual-wield LG right as I talked about it.
That was just instant death, like immediate death when you're stuck as Anarchy in the open like that.
garpy gets the rocket launcher, but that's not going to be enough. His clutch goes down immediately, down to his Nyx. Hao looking really strong on this map. Oh, misses ever so slightly, just out of the teleporter, milliseconds ahead.
Catching on a lightning gun though, garpy does have that ghost walk to escape. Looks like he's popped it.
Chasing him with the LG, getting minimal ticks of it so far, but Hao still lots of health. This has been a very, very good round for him so far.
Indeed, 1 minute 40 in and already one champion left to go. That's what I mean though, right? I mean, when you don't have the space to run away and Hal can go to those fights, he will thrive on it.
Caught him up behind. Nyx is not going to have access to that ghost walk anymore. So if Hal catches him and activates dual wield, is he going to go for it? Opts not to instead. I think he didn't want to sort of get caught activating it, just in case. But he's now forced onto a scale bearer. Oh, definitely not enough health to do that one. Maybe garpy thought I'll sort of stay there, dedicate to it. Maybe I can catch Hal trying to take the mega health. Either way, it didn't work out. Hal gets around on the board.
He does, but again, you know, I mean, he did pick this map. This is quite common. We see that whoever it was that picked the map will then take the first round. That's what you kind of expect, right? If they go for that map, they really want to play that they might feel really comfortable on, but it looks like garpy is going to be starting off with Clutch this time instead of Anarchy to try and deal with this Blaskovic. He doesn't want to get caught out, I think, in the open or up close without access to that barrier.
I feel like going with Clutch first is good, because if you both start at the exact same time, the chance of being caught at the very beginning when you've got no weapons and your enemy has every weapon they could ever want to frag you, I think catching him early just eliminates that risk. You're both not going to maximize the amount of weapons you've got. Going in with the dual wield. Shield wall comes out. But it didn't last for very long. How garpy is not in a good situation at all, and how really well played with that double heavy machine gun.
Indeed, but that's the thing though, this is that map. There is no rail. That is your go-to answer for long-range instant damage, that machine gun. You can use it at Blazkowicz and you're dual wielding and you're just adding so much damage as he can do. Just wonderfully played.
Very quick disengage, but no doubt we might see a fight again. Right now, this Blazkowicz pick is just working wonders for him.
Boy, makes Sweden when he's going to come out of that teleporter. garpy goes down.
Plenty of this round left to go, but garpy... It's a weird thing with Anarchy on this map, because in one way, he has lots of room to run around and still rotate around quite freely. But at the same time, it's very close quarters compared to a lot of these other maps. Here comes Hal again, really keeping him in check. On the flip side, though, garpy has almost got the cover advantage back there. Lots of room, walks straight into a missile, doesn't get anything off of his dual wield. And his Scale Bearer and Anarchy again.
Oh, the charge comes out with the bull rush. Oh, wow, an instant frag. garpy with no problems taking down that Scale Bearer. Now Clutch is left alone.
Does manage to get the rocket, though. That's definitely going to be the important thing. Clutch having a rocket launcher is absolutely going to be priority number one. Get that weapon.
Now there's the Clutch versus Anarchy and Nyx. Two squishy champions that he just wants to get point blank and not let them breathe. garpy's been doing such a good job of just running away with this character, with this Anarchy.
They're definitely going back and forth. I foresee a final round situation once again. Blood Covenant went down to the absolute wire.
I mean, you'd hope so when it's this will be the last series of the day. garpy's go down as long as possible.
Oh wow, going in with the orbital drill. Can he get it though? Going in for the range, trying to use the last of the time to just try and take some free damage. That orbital drill kind of almost acts as a lightning gun in itself, but it has so much more range than the lightning gun. But because of it, it ticks down 5 instead of 7 damage.
Armor goes the way of garpy though, that's pretty huge. Now he's trying to pick up mega health, but Elite Barrier was caught down there because he opted to go for the drill instead.
garpy can afford to be patient. He's the one sitting on 2 champions, Hal with 1. And it's gone down to a timeout before. We know both of these players are not shy of that hyper-defensive strategy. Hal, though, looking to go in. But one thing garpy's doing an amazing job of, when he sees the shield wall, he actually runs away. He tries to outlast it. And then when the shield wall is down, he then looks to potentially fight. But while the shield's up, he'll just run away from it.
That's how you used to fight Clutch, right? You used to see him pop the shield and you just run away and let it expire. Now, if Clutch wants to stop you doing that, he has to actively chase you with his strafe dodge.
Yeah, I mean, at least he can do it now, which he definitely couldn't do before. But Anarchy in particular, most champions can't really run away so effectively, but Anarchy is still so fast. That almost hit!
Oh, he's popped the barrier. That's really good for garpy.
But again, garpy just forced to outweigh it. Just wait for it to disappear, then fight again.
Bigger than mega health goes the way of Hal. Clutch is going to be nice and topped up.
Snags up that heavy armor. 1 minute warning. Hal needs to make something happen in 55 seconds, otherwise he's going to lose this round.
Oh, lightning gun comes out. I don't think he quite has the barrier ready, but he is Clutch. You can see just how much health he has.
Hal took so much damage there. I mean, to be honest, garpy doesn't even need to push this too much because he's got 40 seconds. If he can just keep Hal weak to a point where Hal doesn't want to fight, garpy's going to win due to just the lack of time.
He's got 30 seconds left to go, though. Hal is going to be aggressive in chasing this.
Going in for that heavy armor, very important.
We can see him sort of in the middle. He's going to have a glancing of him. Oh, he's got that rocket. And once again, garpy content running away, going for this timeout style. He does have that champion limit.
He just needs to do it for 15 more seconds, make that 10 seconds. Looking likely he's going to run away. I don't see Hal catching him.
He's trying, though. You can hear him.
Just doing damage, but it's not enough. garpy is just too stacked in that situation, and it's 1-1.
That's what he wants to go for, though. That is what he needs. This is that garpy style that we're seeing him really go to. Even on Corrupted Keep, right? This map that is usually quite hard to do that. Still able to do the same thing.
You don't really see an Anarchy run away the whole game on Corrupted Keep because he normally just gets caught in a really bad spot. Going in with the dual wield, but just soaking up every ounce of it and almost getting knocked off the map. Hang on a minute, getting the LG. How survives? I was convinced garpy was going to secure that one, but How managed to fight back. Almost got knocked off the map as well. Catching an amazing spawn. How already taking out 2 champions. Down to his Nyx already. Nyx is going to try and really chase this down if he has to make something going, and that, I mean... Okay, so we just saw one of the slowest rounds ever. And to answer back, we saw a 40-second round from How.
This happens quite a lot in Quake, it seems. That you can really just drag it down to 5 minutes, a sudden death if you've got the right mobility, or you can just say, I've had enough of this. Instant kill.
2 guns, BJ. And that's it. Oh, and speaking of which, not even 10 seconds in, garpy gets a frag. On
Blaskovic. You're ready, right? That goes to show you can play passive for 4 minutes, but this is why these players are so careful all the time, because this is how quickly you can turn around. This is case in point why you have to be this careful, because if you get caught out of position for a few seconds in the wrong situation, you will instantly die.
So that map, right, so round 2 went to timeout, right? Just to put things into perspective, they went into timeout on round 2, and then the next round
later on round 4,
it was a 5th, literally under a 5th of the time the next round was. How fast can the turnaround be if you just get caught out of position? I mean, that's the thing about Quake. There is no room to stop. You have to be on the ball at all times. If you slip up in the slightest, you risk losing the whole round.
But some slip-ups you won't even see, right? You won't even know they've happened. Like, if you forget the timer on health, if you forget the timer on armor, you know, you won't see that on face value. But if you make that kind of mistake, it can make all the difference. And garpy gets that frag. Now he has this Anarchy versus Clutch by himself once again. And he's caught him on spawn. He knows he has no weapons. And there we go, garpy. Match point again. In the same time round 2 took, 2 rounds have finished, and we're now on match point garpy.
Not only was that an amazing spawn because he just caught him with the LG on deck, but he was nowhere near the rocket, right? So if you catch him on a spawn and he can't get the rocket launcher, Clutch really can't do much to you. And he caught that rocket as well. Now, just like that, it's match point for garpy. Both players being super aggressive. garpy gets this frag, which he does manage to achieve.
Okay, now, this is disastrous, because both times Anarchy has died, Blaskovic has been the champion to kill him, and now Blaskovic is off the table. He is eliminated out of this game. So, Howl is going to have to do what he has been struggling to do, and take out this champion now with either Scale Bearer or Clutch. But right now, garpy, he smells blood. Once he's being really aggressive. I think maybe Howl just wasn't expecting that level of aggression out of him this early. I mean, garpy with that sudden adjustment.
It's just a change of pace. It's an insane change of pace. Heading him off with the rocket, doing big damage. Here comes garpy again, gets Howl one more time. And Howl now is down to his final champion in Clutch, but this is a big order to fulfill.
This is going to be tough. 4 minutes to go to make this comeback. Clutch by himself.
Just a tri-bolt and a lightning gun in hand, using the shield wall to just try and survive. But even with the injection, does he even need it? Using it just to keep himself topped up and getting that heavy armor. Now he's on maximum stack. If he catches Hal out of position, it's unlikely now that Hal will be in danger when he's out of position because he's got so much health, and likely now he's got the rocket launcher. So Clutch does have every ounce of weaponry he needs to be dangerous. It's just against 3 champions. This comeback is a big deal, and it's going to be not easy to achieve at all. Taking all this damage, here comes the lightning gun, forced to use his shield wall. Anarchy goes down, but 2 more champions left to go. Gets the mega health. Okay, 30 seconds.
But the mega health is the catalyst, I think, here, though. He took out Anarchy, he was a champion that was giving him a lot of problems, and he was
oh no, the super shotgun! Oh, and he kills himself. How tries to meet him in the air, but he just had that. The amount of damage he did with that super shotgun was ridiculous. With 30 health left, he had to go for an up-close rocket. He couldn't tank it, and garpy moves on. I mean, that was a very abnormal map. We saw the slowest, one of the slowest rounds we've seen by far, and then the next 3 rounds that followed were almost the exact same amount of time that that entire single round took.
It just goes to show you, though, how fast these guys can swap out how they want to play. The first map, the whole map, like the whole map of map 1, garpy played the slowest possible, aside from that very first frag with the gauntlet. He played as slow as he physically could, to the point that he kept winning on timeouts and sudden death and stuff like that. But it all came down to like really just slow-paced, drawn out. I'm Anarchy. I've got all the space in the world to work with. And he would win that way. That's also how he won the first round of map 2. But then for the final rounds he needed to win, he swapped it up completely and then went full offense. That's how explosive this game can be.
I think some of the best players, if you're going to qualify for something as high stature as, you know, trying to make it to the region. I mean, that's it, the Quake World Championships, that $1 million prize pot. If you're going to be one of those superb players, you need to be able to play multiple game plans is the word I'm looking for. If you can't adapt to the situation that you're in, you know.
But Hal did
there.
a good job of starting to do it, but ultimately, because garpy took that first map, but that's why it came down to the final round as well. That was 2 maps back to back. Like, again, this will be a 2-0 result. You know, it will go on record as 2-0, but it was two maps that were last round really close, almost last champion for the most part. So that's the kind of stuff we need to be paying attention to.
Well, this does mean that garpy will be moving on to the Sunday matches, of which he will try and face off against the rest of his competition, trying to see who makes it into the regionals, because the regionals is where things get really important. If you qualify at regionals, you will make it to QuakeCon, which is the venue for the Quake World Championship finals, playing for that $1 million pot. That final suicide was just really heartbreaking as well.
It was indeed, but I do believe that brings us to an end. We've had a really nice long evening of Quake, top level from start to finish. And again, we got through a 500-man bracket today, so you know, best of luck to anyone that made Sunday finals. Remember to follow ESL Quake on Twitter, and obviously use hashtag QWC and Quake just for anything to do with the tournaments. You want to see who's going to win, predict who you think is going to win in Sacrifice this weekend or in Duels at the playoffs this weekend. Let us know and get involved. But I do believe after some hard-fought matches, we might be done for the evening.
So by no means does that mean Quake is finished for the week. That just means that the Thursday matches to initially qualify for the Sunday playoffs has now ended for week number 2. We'll see 16 of EU's strongest players in week 2 this Sunday to see who's going to qualify for the regionals to meet the already qualified 8 players. But Sacrifice is left to play. This will be the final Sacrifice qualifier, and it's taking place on Saturday. We will see you then for an entire day full of Sacrifice to see who makes it into the regionals in the team game mode. But that's everything from us. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on Saturday.